Okay, I'm going to discuss 11 key features in Squibd. 1, it's employer driven. Now, as we know, in the market before, workers control the information that companies would have. They control the information creditors would have. They control this information simply because they're the ones that producing the resumes, producing the references, and putting the information down on applications. With Squibd, employers will be the one that's submitting all this information. Because with that unique capability, what happens is all the information of all employment that took place that employees may want to have had left off of their resume will now be present to the market. So with the employers controlling the information, it is now a new, unique way of managing the job market. All right, number 2, looking up the information. Looking up the information for the employees or the workers or the job candidates. We will be using sensitive information. That sensitive information will be known to you once you get into the app and really start taking a look at it. But it's a combination of 2 key pieces of sensitive information on the employees. And that's what's going to produce the information of their work history. Now, number 3, how the data is presented. How the data is presented is date, start date, end date, are they rehireable? That's going to be the key information that you're going to be seeing. Of course, with the employee, you're going to be seeing their name and other small information that will be produced. But tons of information such as their home address or email addresses or phone numbers is irrelevant. We'll be using key information that is unchangeable and only unique to that employee, which will then present the record to the worker, to the employer, for you to see the start date, the end date, and if they're rehireable. Now, in the portal, it's not going to be Rolodex style. One of the things we're doing is protecting the data and protecting the information that employers get to see. We understand that not just employers or C-suite employees are going to be managing the system. We understand that this system will be used by HR departments, HR managers, recruiters, HR assistants may have access to the system, and I'll go into later how that's going to be managed as well. But because we know that this information will be accessed by not just the C-level executives, we want to ensure that the information is presented in a way that does not add to temptation. So there's no Rolodex style information. So for example, when you go into a database, you typically can put in some key information, some filters, and a list of 50 records, 100 records, 200 records, or what have you may show up. That's not the case with Squibd. There's no listing of information. There's no Rolodex of employees that will be presented. The only thing that's going to be presented is one employee or one worker, job applicant, whichever style you're using it for, one at a time, and it's only going to be presented once you put in those 2 sensitive pieces of information, and then that one record comes up. We're not making it where it's just a plethora of individuals that can be seen, and that's for security and management purposes. Creating profiles. It will be pretty simple. We have a format that we'll present to the companies, and you upload that format. It takes 10 minutes to upload hundreds or thousands of workers, and the only key information we need is the 2 sensitive pieces of data, the start date, the end date, and if this individual is rehireable. So you'll be creating the profiles. We want you to create these profiles on day 1. We want you to also be retroactive and upload the profiles of employees that you've employed for the past 20 years. Now, not only you can create the profiles, employees can as well. There may be employees that have great work records, or simply just want to put on record that they worked for your company. You're a great company, prestigious company, or maybe you're a company that's about to go out of business. They want to make sure that they're on record before you go out of business. There are multiple reasons an employee may want to submit for their profile to be created. However, they can't create the profile themselves. They can create their own profile, submit the information or the request for their profile to become live in the portal, and that request goes to your company. Your company reviews what was sent to them, sent to you virtually, and you approve as is, or you deny and kick it back with edits that needs to be made, or you can make the edits and approve it and it still submits, or you can decline it if this individual actually never worked at your company. So this is how profiles are created. Now, multi-user, I discussed that not just C-level suites or owners of small businesses or high-level leaders are going to be using the system. You have multiple individuals in many of the larger companies. This will be applicable that will be using the system. These individuals will require to have limited access. So we have multi-user profiles, which you can access by subscribing to the premium subscription or the corporate subscription, which gives you multiple user profiles. If additional profiles are needed other than what we give you complimentary, that request can be submitted to us and we can continue to add as many profiles as you need. Those profile gives rights, right? Access rights. So those access rights would say how much information can this individual with this profile access. So of course the owners can access everything about their own company, their EIN numbers, Department of Labor registration numbers, addresses, phone number, email address that you're going to be using, and you may have a worker that should not have access to that information, or a worker should not have access to handle any edits that needs to be made, which I'll discuss also here in a second. So you have multiple user profiles that are available that protects the company. If you're a smaller company, you may only need one profile, but if you're a larger company or one that will be employing other leaders that will be handling your interviewing or recruiting or your HR management, then you can subscribe to user levels that gives you multiple user profiles. What we simply strongly urge is that owners or C-suite leaders protect the access levels like you protect them from any other proprietary information in your company, to make sure lower level workers are not getting access to the admin level or the master level profile. Searches. Now, how it works with the searches is you purchase a number of credits, and those credits are very, very affordable. And you can purchase them one at a time if you just want to do one search, or you can purchase in bulk and have multiple search credits at your disposal that you use to conduct a search for that individual. One search equals one credit used. That credit would only be used if it's a successful search. So if you put in a search for an individual and they don't have a work record just yet for you to examine, you will not be charged for that credit. That credit remains inside your user profile, and you can continue to search and have those credits unless you find successful searches. Now, what we also have is tenure protection. Tenure protection simply says we have built into our algorithm where we understand that different industries has different tenure times. So someone working at fast food, we expect that tenure may be, and I'm just, kind of throwing it out here, maybe 90 days would be their tenure. And working at maybe a law firm may be 3 years. Well, the dates for that individual, we don't want employers to wrongly examine those dates, because someone is not unreasonable as far as tenure for them to hold maybe a construction job or janitorial job or fast food job, may hold 3 or 4 of those in 1 year to be penalized as a squibber, when in fact in those industries and some of these laborious industries, the tenure is actually a shorter time. So we track that, and we're able to put in the system where when you search that individual for each work schedule, work record that they have, it will show if it's an average tenure time based on that industry, if it's low or if it's long. So we're actually tracking tenure for different industries. Which moved me into Squibd. We have a distinction that will be given to workers, which is called the Squibd star. The Squibd star says, if we have a worker in our system that has demonstrated over 80% of the time they have average or above tenure times with companies, they're a star. They stick around, they're resilient, they don't bounce from job to job, and we need employers like yourself to be able to see those workers as they're highlighted in our system as a Squibd star. Next feature, disputes. So there is times that records may need to be disputed. But one thing I want you to understand, with the Squibd system, we're only listing the facts. When an individual started working, when they stopped, and are they rehireable? Now, the only thing that can be disputed, really, well, if they ever worked there or not, that's, up for dispute. But those disputes come to you virtually, and if someone disputed whether they worked there or not, and you have evidence, which will typically ask for certain pieces of information, key pieces of information that are disprovable, once you present those, we will verify if that record needs to remain. Some individuals may have a different start date versus an end date. Some people may have their start date as their offer letter. You may have their start date as the first time that they got paid. Those dates may vary. Dates, we give a little cushion, a window of where it's acceptable and not needing to be disputed. If it falls outside of that window, the data, we allow the dispute to be open, and then we get it resolved. That's all done virtually. Now, leading to our other key feature, tutorials. What I want you guys to understand is when you sign up for Squibd, you have tutorial videos. Those tutorial videos will explain to you many of the different functions so that you're not overwhelmed. You can quickly go to those 1 or 2 minute videos, and it can explain to you how things work. As you sign up to be a Squibd individual, you go through an orientation process with the videos to explain to you the importance of managing the data, that kind of stuff. But it's very important for you to understand the training necessary to be a Squibd company that's managing this data. Now, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by saying training and data, because it's no more complicated than, say, managing your payroll system. Just making sure that the information is accurate is what we need, and it's just as important as you handling your payroll system. Security. We take security very, very seriously. In fact, our cybersecurity team is made up of military veterans, and we have the highest degree of security on our system. We have the highest protection of our servers, our data, and we have weekly patches and other security measures that's being taken to ensure that there's zero infiltration to our system. There's 0% tolerance for any type of infiltration to the Squibd system. Our security is one of the top things that we're managing. So, my friends, that's the 11 key things, key features in Squibd that we want you to just kind of know and learn to be comfortable with our system and understand that Squibd is revolutionizing the job market and bringing job market transparency. Because at Squibd, protection, production, in that order is what Squibd is all about.